Hey everybody, welcome back to Carly K Knits. Today we are talking about a new project that I have just cast on. I didn't record soon enough to actually cast on with you, but I have just barely started. So we can still talk about the beginning of this process. But I am starting the Catknit Pullover by Andrea Rangel, and I'm so excited about it. If you saw my last video, this was the last pattern I talked about going through my Ravelry favorites, and I was talking about how it might be the thing that I work on as my birthday project. My birthday was this week. 28. And something I've done for the last 2 years is for my birthday present to myself, I will go and buy a sweater's quantity worth of yarn and start a new project for my birthday. Because that's all I ever want to do. I want to spend my birthday doing nothing but knitting. Unfortunately, this year I had to work on my birthday, but besides the point. So this year I am doing the Catknit Pullover by Andrea Rangel, and I wanted to talk to you about the yarn that I decided to use, how the process is going so far, because I have already had some fumbles, and I need to wind my contrast color because I'm gonna need that relatively soon to start the color work chart. So let's talk about all of it. First, let's talk about this pattern in general. So it is a circular color work sweater, worked top down, and it is worked in a fingering weight yarn, not held double with anything. It is just a fingering weight yarn sweater, which presents its own kind of challenges. One being that it is going to take me a very long time, but I am really excited for the outcome of it because I think that the fingering weight lightness of the fabric plus the yarn that I chose is going to make an incredibly soft and wonderful sweater to wear. The other thing is that it's just, it's a circular colorwork yoke, and that's a large undertaking. This will be my second attempt at a full sweater of this, and I'm so excited, but it is daunting. I feel like it's always daunting to start a project like this. Let's talk about the yarn that I am using for this. So I always pick yarns after I've picked a pattern. Like, it rarely works the other way where I'm like, oh, look at this yarn, I'm gonna buy all this yarn, and then I'm gonna find a pattern that it works with. I saw this pattern and I knew I needed to make it, and then I had to go find some yarn to use for it. So I went to my local yarn store, the Village Knittery here in Newport News, Virginia, and surprise, surprise, for the main body color of this, I went with Kelbourne Woolens, of course, in Perennial, which is this beautiful fingering weight yarn that they have. And it is a 60% superwash merino, 25% Surrey alpaca, 15% nylon, 100-gram skein. Hank, whatever. And it is so pretty and it is so soft. This is probably one of the softest yarns I have ever worked with, and I am so excited. I want to put it on me so bad because I think it's going to be unmatched softness levels. Also, keep in mind, there are cats running around all over the place behind me. This is what happens when I film at my kitchen table instead of my office where I can shut a door. There are cats everywhere, so apologies in advance if, things are weird. I don't know. But I am so excited to use this. I have already started using this because I have just, barely cast on and gotten a few rows in, but it is already a dream to work with. It is so soft, like I said, and I'm really excited about this deep purple color, which is called Purple, 501 Purple. And I chose this for the main body of the sweater because, as I've talked about before, I'm not good at wearing light colors or white. I'm too messy for that. It's just not my vibe. And the product pictures for this were in a cream and blue color scheme, but I wanted to do a much darker color palette. So for the main body, I'm going with this like royal deep purple. Purple's also been just top tier, if not my favorite color for the majority of my life. So this is going to be, yes, I bought 4 skeins of this total for the size E. That's what I'm making of this pattern. So in case you're following along at home, I'm making an E. It does say that it fits with some degree of positive ease. So I'm thinking that this will be Maybe not like the slouchiest sweater, but it will still be comfortable and not tight because I don't like anything to fit me tightly. Hence, basically the Hawaiian shirt that I am wearing right now. Second yarn choice will be the contrast color. I am very excited about this yarn. I have seen a lot of, especially color work, circular yoke color work charts recently that people have knit with a variegated yarn as their contrast color, which I think is really cool and adds a lot of dimension to whatever it is that is the subject of the sweater. A lot of times people will do just a plain color, but I think having an ombre effect makes that just a little bit more interesting and pop a little bit more. So what I am using, also bought from Village Knittery, is this Birch fingering weight yarn from Round Mountain Fibers. It is an organic superwash, hand dyed in Vermont. It is 80% GOTS certified organic superwash merino and 20% nylon in 100-gram skein, and it is called Blue Gray Tanager. And I love their like Ornithology inspired yarn lines. It is a very weird thing about me, but I love fish and bird inspired knitwear, designs, yarns, colors, because I think birds and fish are very interesting to look at. However, birds and fish are my like lowest tier animals that I like. Fish I like to eat and I think they're really cool looking, but I do not want to touch them. They're slimy and weird and I don't want to touch them, but they're really cool, and I think that they're really interesting to look at. There's such a large variety of fish. They all look different. They have such cool colors. Love it. And birds, similar in the fact that they are so varied, so cool and interesting looking, so many fun names that birds have. However, the thing about birds that I can't handle are their creepy dinosaur feet, and anything that has the possibility to flutter and fly close to my face in a chaotic fashion, I can't handle it. It freaks me out. When I was a kid at the zoo, at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, which is the zoo I went to when I grew up, they had an exhibit called the Budgie Buddies, which is basically a big room that was full of little birds. And little kids loved that room because they could go and get a little popsicle stick with some seeds on the end. And if you held that popsicle stick up in the air long enough, a bird probably would come land on your little popsicle stick and it would eat the seeds. That is my actual nightmare. I hated that room and I would avoid it at any cost. The fluttering, the flying near my head, I can't handle it. The only bird that I can handle, ducks. I don't know what it is. I think ducks are really cute, but I still don't know if I want to experience them super close up and in person because they do still freak me out a little bit, but they're the cutest of the birds to me. But anyway, tangent over. Love the Ornithology collection. Love this color scheme of yarn with this very gentle variegation to it. And in combination with this purple, tell me this isn't going to be a beautiful color combination. I think it's going to be stunning. Next, let's talk about where I am in this pattern and what has happened so far. So I started this actually a few days before my birthday because I bought this yarn over the weekend, last weekend. And I started it almost immediately and ran into a couple of problems immediately because I did not have the right tools. So this is a fingering weight sweater, meaning that it requires very small gauge needles. It recommends, for what I'm doing, a size 1 or size 2. I'm using a size 1. I didn't do a gauge swatch. That might be a good thing or a bad thing. Who's to say? I don't know. Anyway, I'm using size 1 needles, and I only had size 1s in 2 different cord lengths. I had these fixed circulars, these wood likey ones that have this long cord. I typically use these for magic loop for socks, or if for some reason I have a garment that is this big around, I'll use it for like a full body circumference, right? And then I also had size 1s in my Chow fixed metal tipped needles, but they're the 9-inch circulars that I use for socks. They're very small. They're like just very small circumference. They're also currently in use because I am making a sock. This cord to get started on this pattern is too long. This is too long. And I was like, I don't want to go buy more needles. I am just gonna do magic loop. I'm gonna cast this on with magic loop and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It was not fine. It started out okay, but then I had a hard time keeping track of where I was. And because it was a larger stitch count, like keeping everything separated and stuff was hard, but there wasn't enough stitches to cover the whole needles. So it just didn't work out. And then I got to the increase rounds to set up for the color chart, and I made a couple of mistakes, and I tried to fix the mistakes, but there were enough mistakes that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start this all the way over. I'm gonna get the proper tools for this, and I am going to start over. So I did. I started over, I went to the store, and I bought some new needles. I got this is as far as I've gotten, not very far, as you can see from my restart. I got, I believe these are 16-inch. Hi, Munch, what are you doing, baby? Cats everywhere, I told you. So I think these are 16-inch Xiaogu fixed size 1s, and I am probably going to keep these for a little bit through the increase rounds, just because it's a pretty comfortable size. It doesn't feel like it's overloaded yet, but when I get to the point where I need to expand a little bit, I did buy these Xiaogu circulars. These are a little shorter than the Leica wood ones that I have. So I think these will be a good middle step. And they might even be good to go back to the body when I am done with the color chart. And then I have these extra long ones for when I get to the very end bits of the chart where it's really wide. So now I feel better. I have all of the tools that I need, and I feel much more confident that I will not make as many mistakes, and it will go smoother now. So basically where I've gotten so far is obviously I've cast on, I've gotten through the German short row shaping, I've resolved those double stitches, and now I am about to start my increase rounds to prep for the color chart to begin. So I am not very far in. It's been a really enjoyable knit so far, even though I've had to start over, because this yarn is such a dream to work with. And now that I've started over on these metal tipped needles, it is just slidey and it feels like it's going really fast. It feels easy. It feels really nice. I'm having a good time. But I am almost to the point now where I am going to need this. I only have a little bit more before I need to get into this contrast color and start this color chart. So while you're here with me, let's go through winding up some yarn, shall we? Oh God, stop that. As you can see, I have my winder here. I've got my caker, my winder, and I also have my Swift over here on this side. As you can see, I have made a little bit of a mod to my winder. My husband does 3D modeling and 3D design, and we have a 3D printer. And I have always had a complaint about this particular winder, which I really would like to buy a new one of these days, but this one works just fine for now. That it just doesn't make as big of cakes as I want. Like I often find that, especially with larger skeins of like acrylic, I have to do it in multiple cakes. Like it takes multiple cakes to finish winding one skein. It's not as big of a deal with like these guys, because these always wind to like kind of the same size cake, but I wanted the capacity to do more. So I had him redesign this top plate for me so that it had a longer spool and a wider base, so I can do bigger skeins on here, which is very fun. So let's start with getting this put on the Swift, right? I had to go and get, hit my knee on the table. Had to go and get my little scissors because I need those to open up this hank of yarn. And look at my little bird scissors. I feel so fancy with my little bird scissors. Anyway, hi Mudgy, I'm going to need you to not be here for this. Excuse me, this is my baby. There you go. So let's unwind this, shall we? One of my favorite things to do with yarn when I unwind it from hank is to watch it unwind itself. Woo, fancy. So now we're gonna get this up on the Swift. I reoriented the camera, so now you might be able to see me. Sweet. So I've got my hank all unwound now. I'll get it on my Swift, wrap it around. So it's on here. I'm going to stretch out my Swift so that, oh no, oh no, oh no, please stay where I ask. And pull this guy up to hold it taut. Yep, so now, oh, no, no, fumble, fumble, we fumbled the bag. Please stay. Will you work? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna try our best here. We're gonna try our best here. Usually, and again, I explain, I usually do this in my office where the Swift and the winder just live always on my desk. It's not the best situation at my kitchen table, but I wanted a change of scenery. I needed something different today. Let's cut our connecty pieces that hold it in a loop. Usually those can just get snipped right off. There's usually 3. 2 of them are just as they are. And then there's usually 1 of them that is connected to the rest of the skein, and that's where you pull from to start winding. Yep, so these are the 2 separate ones. Those are gone. So now I can connect it to my winder. So we're gonna reorient the camera again and hope that nothing doesn't work. Okay, so here is where we're going to be pulling from, right? Yes, this is it. This is the move. This is the moment. So we're going to pull from here. And then I'm going to attach it through the little guidey loop that I have and stick it in this little thing. The one thing that I need this to be is to have a little bit smaller clearance for this because it doesn't hold things as tightly as I would like. So it'll be fine. We just got to get it started. So now we will do a little wind, get it caught on itself, and then we go from here and hope that we don't mess it up. As long as it doesn't fall off the table, we are okay. So then you just do this. You keep going, you do this for a while, and then you'll be done with it. So I will meet you back here when we're done winding, and we'll see what this cake looks like all wound up. Okay, we're nearing the end. We're almost done. Woohoo! Oh, Mudge, what are you doing? Please don't jump on the yarn or the camera. All right, all right. So now we have our lovely skein here, all wrapped up into a beautiful cake. I'm sure that was a lot faster for you than it was for me. I actually really like winding yarn, but especially if you're doing like multiple skeins at once, it just takes a long time. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, can this be done now? But I kind of remedy that by just not winding my yarn until I need it. Like I have 3 more of these. I'm not gonna wind them all now. I'm gonna wait until they are all done, and then I will wind the next one that I need. But anyway, so here is our lovely skein of Round Mountain fibers. Ugh, beautiful. And it is called, again, the name of the yarn is Blue Gray Tanager from the Ornithology collection. Gorgeous. Look at these beautiful blues and like kind of purpley periwinkly blues. Wow, so excited. Gonna be so beautiful together. Well, I am going to keep working on this. Oh. Stop unwinding, stop doing that. Follow me on Instagram at Carly K Knits. I'm sure I will post updates on this on my stories. I also hope to get you an update on my design that I'm working on as well. Like and subscribe to my channel, Carly K Knits, here on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel on Instagram, Subscribe to my Instagram page, at Carly K Knits. I post reels, I post posts, I post stories, and I'm generally kind of okay at it. I'm not that great at social media, but I try. I hope you all have a great day, a great weekend, and I will see you next time.